I'm like really weird. I don't know. Like, I've taught them all about like, from like years of teaching, we have like things that are common student misconceptions that we've done. So like I turn them into like science sins. And so like, you know, if they say heat energy comes from the sun, we all freak out about that and things like that. So I think that like, you know, I like really like kind of pump up the energy, and I think that class especially is kind of matched me with.
Yeah. So what are some things that you're doing to like even pump up the energy in that way?
Well, I think it's just a lot of like, you know, like going around and giving praise for people who are doing what they're supposed to be doing. I've been taking, like if students are doing work, I'll be reading their answers and I'll say, you know, you're doing a really good job with that, so on and so forth. So that's been working well.
Yeah. So that really like specific targeted praise.
Yeah.
You also do something with having the students move around a lot.
Yeah.
Like what was it, like the gas, the water?
Yeah, the particle movement.
Yeah.
80 minutes is just too long for them to be sitting in their seats. So I like to get them up at least once during the class.
Yep. And I think their anticipation of that probably also helps with their buy-in. So even just a small thing, having them get up, line up, get the, you know, those small things really make a big difference. Get them up during class. Awesome. So thinking about an area to start to, you know, focus your attention on, what is your ultimate goal? So when students are sharing in your class and students are super willing to share their answers, what is your ultimate goal for what you want student sharing to look like in your classroom?
So I don't think that my students really listen to each other when they share. So I'm trying to get them to use more of those, like, you know, I agree with, I disagree with. So I'm looking for more of like a collaborative conversation. So this way eventually they can come up with the answers themselves rather than me hearing the same thing over and over and over again from multiple students. Yeah.
Yeah, so getting them to do that active listening and then also having them listen and share and respond to each other, right? So right now, how would you rate that student discussion in your class?
Out of like what?
Out of like 1 through 5. So 1 being like it's horrible, 5 being it's awesome.
I would say it's like a 2.
2?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the beginning of the school year, so I think that's probably where it would fall. So I think one thing to focus on, because I did notice the Accountable Talk poster and you prompting it slightly with a, well, do you disagree? But I think being even more targeted.
Okay.
So using that Accountable Talk poster and really driving discussion in a very specific way. So what I would do, or one thing that you should do, is identify the question. Because you already, I was looking through your lesson plans are great. You already identified the questions that you're asking students to answer. And you've already kind of started to think about, let's have them answer this one through, you know, just a couple share outs, and this one through student pairs. So you've already kind of thought through the how. So I would identify the one question in your lesson plan, since you're already writing those questions in there, to where you're going to push that high level discussion. So really kind of 2 steps. So identify the one question in lesson plans where you're going to push it, and then really identify which stems you're going to push them to use during that time. Because eventually the goal would be you're not prompting anymore, and they're just doing it naturally.
So if I was in my class, like, would I literally say, like, we're going to have a discussion about this question, I want to hear, like, you know, this, and this off that poster? Like, be that transparent with it, or?
So I think it depends on the tone of your class. I think with that class that I was in, you can do that with them, because that's your highest performing class already. To say, like, our goal is to have meaty discussion, because they're already there with you with the answers that they're giving. So the answers are generally precise, and when they're not, you're able to kind of say, like, no, that wasn't right. So I think with that class, you can do that transparent build-up around Accountable Talk. With the other classes, it might not. It really kind of depends on their starting ground.
Okay.
So let's think about your lowest performing class. Do you think that they would be ready for that transparent?
Man, I'm having such trouble with them. They're like a lump of potatoes.
Yeah.
Like I will say things and like they're just looking at me, eyes glazed over, like really not like as involved as that class. So I'm gonna have to do something for them.
When they're giving answers, what are their answers like?
Their answers are decent.
Okay.
Like, they're generally on. It's just like the lack. Like, so if one person's speaking, everybody in the class is either looking at them but not really processing, or just kind of like, you know.
So I think, so in hearing that, then I think it makes sense to do that rollout for all classes.
Okay.
So even before we focus today on identifying the one question and really like doing it from the day to day, let's think about the big picture rollout. And it doesn't have to be big, but just how you're going to share it with your class, how you're going to get them invested in it, and how you're going to follow through. The follow through will be what we've already discussed, right? Identifying that one question and pushing the students to use those specific stems. So I actually think that they would, if their answers are already generally thoughtful,
Mhm.
then they're ready for, we're gonna have a classroom discussion and this is what it's gonna look like.
Yeah.
So let's actually start to think through that.
Okay.
Classroom discussion, you wanna roll it out.
Mhm.
Let's start identifying, you can use your note space for this.
Okay.
What do you think that rollout should be like? How long? When in class? What should the content be?
Well, I think that the rollout should be like explicit, like 5 minutes talking, like this is what classroom discussion should look like. We're gonna practice it. Maybe we'll practice with something like that they're really easily able to talk about, like maybe like going to movies or something like
Mhm.
that. And then we'll practice probably after a lab when we do one of our stop and reflect questions.
Yeah, I think that's perfect.
Okay.
Write it down.
All right.
I just want you to, and then we'll think about like when this is gonna happen, right?
Mhm.
When are you thinking of doing this?
I think next week. It's looking like Tuesday or Wednesday I am doing a lab. So probably after said lab.
Okay.
So probably Wednesday.
On Wednesday?
Yeah.
What's next week's date?
But that would be the 30th.
Okay. So do you want to write a quick script and practice it real quick?
Sure.
Okay. I'll give you a minute to kind of brainstorm. And then that way it's done.
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 Just in time for you to write my lesson, please.